So here's another one of those videos evaluating presidential candidates. Had to film in the kids' pirate ship today. There's no place to find any peace and quiet in my house today. So we will continue here from the pirate ship. Jeb Bush is the subject for today. What's wrong with Jeb Bush? What's not wrong with Jeb Bush would be a better question. American politics was founded on public service, not a family dynasty. Now, you know, there's nothing wrong with a family going into the same area of service, same area of careers, choosing the same path. That happens often. Kids learn from their parents. They kind of gain vision and energy for their own dreams for the parents, and sometimes they'll go the exact opposite. And we always want our kids to go in the direction that God has wired them and gifted them. So it's no surprise that you may have several people from the same family go into politics. You know, the first three names that come to mind when I think of political families is Bush, Kennedy, and Clinton. And you know, they're all dominant names in the political field. However, it's not neither of those three. It doesn't come to mind with either of those three names public service, sacrifice. JFK, you know, he had some good ideas as far as service for the country. You know, some of that stuff I can agree with him. But for the most part, his family got elected on his name. Ted Kennedy has committed so many crimes and been so involved in corruption, he should have fried, you know, or at least dwindled up and died in prison. But he got away with a lot of that because of the family name. And it's the same way, you know, with Clinton. And then we have Bush. For example, my mother, you know, we were discussing political candidates, presidential candidates a couple of months ago who would get the 2016 nomination, and my mom got all excited. It's like, you know, Jeb Bush is running. Yes, I do. So what? She thinks just because his last name is Bush that she should vote for him. The same way with people who think that you should vote, you know, they don't even look at the candidate. I've always voted Republican or I've always voted Democrat, so they'll vote for an idiot just because they've always voted that political party. So never is it wise to vote because of a party name, and never is it wise to vote for a family name. And I think that's you know, where Jeb Bush is getting a lot of his support from ignorant Americans who just vote that way because they like Bush. The rest of his support's coming from corrupt politicians. So you know, and one of the first political families, you know, at the founding of this nation, that name was Adams. We had Samuel Adams, John Quincy, and all of those went into politics. But when you look back and read, theirs was a self-sacrificing type of politics. As a matter of fact, I don't think that, at least with Samuel and John Quincy, they were not fans of politics at all. They wanted to serve their country. They wanted to create a nation of freedoms. They never wanted us to end up enslaved like we were to Britain. So it was a little bit different mindset then. When the family name becomes cronyistic in power, we've got a problem. And when voters are so dumb they vote for someone just because of the family name, we've got a more serious problem. So, you know, what's wrong with Jeb Bush? You know, just a quick overview. The three things that come to mind about him. We all know he's the son of George Herbert Bush. He's been the governor of Florida for a couple of terms, and he's now one of the 2016 Republican candidates. And that right, he's been called a rhino often, and for good reason. He does not represent conservative America. I don't care how he presents himself. Look at his voting record and look at who he hangs out with. He is not a conservative politician. He's not a conservative Republican. He supports Common Core, and I can't stay on this point too long, because if you get me started on Common Core, it ended up being a video of Common Core. So all I'm going to say in this video is he supports Common Core. That's reason alone enough for me not to vote for it. He calls illegal immigration an act of love. He's for amnesty, basically. Obama's illegal amnesty at that. How is allowing a bunch of people to come over here illegally an act of love, when for years this country has had guidelines, had rules for immigrating, and for years people went through hardships, they went through tough tests, they did whatever they had to do, they worked hard to become a citizen because they loved this country before even becoming a citizen, but they loved it enough and wanted to contribute back that they became citizens. Now we got a bunch of freeloading criminals running over here, and it's an act of love to let them come in and rob us and murder us and rape us and bring us diseases and bring us illegal drugs. That's an act of love. I think Jeb Bush has been smoking some of them drugs, or eating them, or inhaling them, or injecting them, or something, rolling around in them. He says that he is against Obamacare, but yet every plan to defund Obamacare he has voted against. And Obamacare will destroy this country. He says that he is a conservative on the climate. But yet, according to the Conservative Review, and there are a couple of other sites out there where you can find this information, he has embraced climate change, stood alongside of the ignorant liberals, who climate change is nothing but a platform to appeal to the ignorant masses of tree huggers, basically. And Jeb Bush stands along with them. And he also confirmed Loretta Lynch, who was Obama's nominee for Attorney General. Loretta Lynch is all about illegal amnesty, as well as some other things. So, you know, to keep this video short, don't elaborate too much more, those are just a short list of some of the things that's wrong with Jeb Bush. If you want a conservative Republican candidate, Jeb Bush votes and stands along with those who are against everything the conservatives stand for. He can say one thing. He can identify himself with the Bush family. And the other two Bushes have had some, you know, they've had kind of walked in some gray areas too, as far as I'm concerned. So, and although I voted for the other two Bushes and probably would again, if they could look in hindsight and assure me they wouldn't make the same mistakes, hell would freeze over before I'd vote for Jeb Bush. Because he is not, the other two were not as great as they should have been. He is nowhere near the caliber they are. And I would not vote for another Bush just to have the Bush name in there. Jeb Bush is not a conservative. If you want Obama back in office by the Republican name, then vote for Jeb Bush. Because that's all he is Obama in Republican clothing. I will not vote for Jeb Bush. I encourage you to do the research, get out there on these issues. There's a lot more details we can elaborate on. But I want you to do the research, find out, subscribe to my channel, keep checking out these videos, like them, and I'm gonna break down all of the primary political candidates, and think, research and think. If I make you mad because I'm dogging out your candidate, then prove me wrong. Get on there, research your man or woman, and prove me wrong.